Brother Little Bee's buzzing heart-shaped honeypot as soon as the sunlight shone into the sunflower field. A buzzing sound could be heard. It was the buzzing of the little bee brother. He wore a yellow and black striped shirt, flapped his wings fast and steadily, and the small honey sac on his back was always bulging. Weng Weng is the little guardian of the flower field. Not only is he the most diligent in collecting nectar, but he also always thinks of helping his friends. The bee mother always says, "We Weng Weng, our hearts are sweeter than the nectar." In the early morning, little butterfly Sai squatted on the petals, wiping away her tears. Her wings were soaked by the morning dew and stuck together, unable to take off. Weng Weng quickly landed beside it, gently combed Ticai's wings with its fluffy hind legs, and even found a dry petal for it to rub against. "Don't worry, just bask in the sun for a while and you'll be fine," Buzzing said, handing over the first drop of Sephora flower honey he had picked. Ticai licked the honey and quickly spread her wings, circling Weng Weng twice. "Thank you, brother Weng Weng. You are gentler than the spring breeze." In the morning, little Aunt Guogu led the team to carry breadcrumbs. Halfway through, they were stopped by a small puddle. Guoguo was so anxious that she kept stamping her feet. If the breadcrumbs were dried by the sun, they wouldn't taste good. Weng Wang saw this and immediately flew to the nearby dandelion grove. He hugged a dandelion fluff with his hind legs and flew back as if holding a small umbrella, placing it steadily on the puddle. "Hurry up and cross the little bridge." The little ants lined up and passed safely along the soft down. Guagoa waved her antennae and thanked Brother Weng Weng. "Your method is even better than the little ladder." At noon, the little hedgehog Cookie by the flower field suffered from heat stroke and was lying on a stone, feeling dizzy. Wen Wang quickly gathered his friends. Together, they picked up leaves and folded them into a small canopy to cover Kit. Weng Wen even flew over to pick some cool mint honey and dropped it around Kiwi's mouth. Kiwigi licked the honey with a mint-like fragrance and soon regained consciousness. Bending over, she said, "Brother Wom, your honey quenches your thirst better than cold spring water." In the afternoon, the little boy Dodo from the neighbor's house came to play in the flower field. He accidentally fell and scraped his knee. Dudu was just about to cry when Wumang flew over, circled around his knee, and placed a small daisy still covered with dew in his hand. Brave children are not afraid of pain. Looking at the little daisy and the cute buzz, Dodo really stopped crying and gently said, "Brother Little Bee, you are so brave." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the flower field a golden red, and all the friends gathered under the largest sunflower. Colorful ribbons brought the brightest petals. Guagu brought sweet breadcrumbs, and Kayuki presented smooth pebbles. Everyone wanted to thank Weng Weng. Buzzing and scratching his head, he pushed the small honey pot filled with nectar to the middle. "When everyone is happy, I'm the happiest." Mother Bee smiled and said, "Buzzing's diligence is precious. But what's even more precious is the willingness to share with love." When the moon rose, it buzzed and flapped its wings to patrol the flower field. The moonlight fell on its wings, as if they were gilded with a layer of silver. Because of the buzzing of the little bee brother, this flower field has become more lively and warmer. Even the evening breeze is filled with a sweeter scent than nectar. A heartwarming story of the pond where the blue-feathered ducks quack in the pond by the village. There swims a special little duck. Its feathers are as blue as the sky, shining with a soft glow. Its flat beak is tender yellow, and its feet are like two small blue maple leaves. When it swims, its tail gently wags, and it makes a clear quack, quack, quack sound. The duck mother always says, "Quack, quack" is the little blue elf in the pond. It looks cute and has a warm heart. That early morning, little Shrimp and Doodoo got lost among the water plants and could unfind their mother no matter how much they walked around. Gaga swam over and asked softly, "Doodoo, why are you here alone?" Doodoo hung her little tail and said, "I can't find my mum." Gaga laughed and said, "Don't be afraid. I'll take you to look for it." It let Dodo lie on its back and swim slowly along the edge of the pond, quacking Shrimp Mom as it swam. The blue feathers were particularly conspicuous in the water. The shrimp mother quickly found them and nodded at Gaga, saying, "Thank you, Gaga. You are such a reliable little guide." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. Little crab Juangguang wanted to climb onto the lotus leaf in the middle of the pond to bask in the sun. But the lotus leaf was floating on the water surface. If it climbed over, it would drift away. Gaga saw this and swam over quickly, stabilizing the lotus leaf with her body. "Juangguang, come quickly. I'll fix it for you." Juangguang climbed onto the lotus leaf along Gaga's back and comfortably spread out his pincers. "Thank you, Gagaga. The sunshine here is so warm. Your back is even more stable than a small boat." At noon, the sky was a bit muggy. Little butterfly Cece came back from gathering honey. Her mouth was dry, but she couldn't find any clean dew. Gaga remembered that the morning dew on the lotus leaves had not yet evaporated and quickly said, "Cai, come and rest on my back. I'll help you pick the dew." It swam to the lotus leaf, gently pecked off the dew at the tip of the leaf with its beak, and dropped it in front of Cidc, licked the sweet dew, flapped her wings and said, "Thank you, Gaga. Your dew is sweeter than nectar. I can fly again." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Gaga remembered the little cricket lily living in the reeds by the pond. Its little nest was unobstructed. Gaga hurriedly swam to the shore and blocked the entrance of the reed bed with her body, as if holding up a small blue umbrella. When the raindrops tick-tock fell, Lele hid behind and said with a smile, "Thank you, Gaga. Your feathers are more useful than leaves." I didn't get wet at all. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the pond orange. The little girl Duadwo from the neighboring house came to play by the pond. As soon as she saw Gaga swimming in the water, her eyes lit up. "Wow, this little blue duck is so special and cute." Gaga swam to the shore, gently rubbed Duadwo's little hand and called out Gaga to her twice. Duo clapped her hands happily and said, "You are so gentle. Let's be friends." Gaga wagged her tail as if saying, "Great, great." When the moon rose, its moonlight spread over the pond. The quack blue feathers, reflected in the moonlight, looked as if they were sprinkled with a layer of silver powder. It swam in the pond, feeling warm in its heart. Because of the quacking of the blue-feathered ducks, this small pond has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet dew, and more dazzling than the blue feathers. The growth story of the blue-haired caterpillar on the blue grassland. On the warm grassland, bathed in sunlight, there crawled a soft caterpillar. Its body was wrapped in a layer of blue, glistened down, as if sprinkled with star powder. Each section of its body was marked with faint white streaks. When it climbed up, its body arched back and forth, leaving behind thin silver lines. The butterfly mother always said, "Lanlan is a little explorer on the grassland, gentle and warm-hearted. She can help many friends on her way to growth." That early morning, little Aunt Guago and her friends were carrying sugar grains when they were blocked by a small ditch halfway. The ditch is not deep, but a bit wide, and the ants can't jump over it. Lanlan slowly crawled over and asked softly, "Guago, do you need any help?" Guago waved its antennae and said, "We can't cross the ditch. The sugar grains will melt in the sun." Lanlan smiled and said, "I'll be the little bridge." It slowly stretched its body across the ditch, transforming into a small blue arched bridge. The little ants lined up and crawled along the soft down. Guago bowed to Lanlan and said, "Thank you, Lanlan. Your body is more stable than a small plank." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. Little ladybug Dion wanted to climb to the top of the dandelion to bask in the sun, but the flower stem was too slippery. After climbing several times, she always slipped down. Lanlan saw this and quickly climbed over, pressing her body against the flower stem, turning into a tiny fluffy ladder. Dion, follow me up." Dion grabbed Lan's down and climbed step by step to the top, spreading her wings comfortably. "Thank you, Lan. The sunshine here is so warm. Your fur is safer than the small steps." At noon, the sky was a bit muggy. Little butterfly Sai came back from gathering honey. Her mouth was dry, but she couldn't find any clean dew. Lanlan remembered that morning dew would condense on her fur and quickly said, "Kai, come and have a drink of water on my back." It stretched out its body, and the dewdrops on its fur shone brightly. Sai AI landed on Lan's back, licking the sweet dew, and immediately regained her strength. "Thank you, Lan. Your dew is sweeter than nectar." In the afternoon, little hedgehog Cookie wanted to collect beautiful little petals. But the petals were scattered in the grass, and its spines were hard to pick up. Lanlan saw it and said with a smile, "Kiyuki, I'll help you pick it up." It used its soft body to roll up the scattered petals and carefully placed them in front of Kiyuki. Kiyuki held a pile of colorful petals and couldn't stop smiling. "Thank you, Lanlan. Your body is more effective than a small basket." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the grassland orange. The little friends on the grassland gathered under the clover and held a small sharing session for Lanlin. The little aunt brought sweet sugar grains, the little ladybug shared the delicious nectar, and the little hedgehog presented the softest petals. Lanlin was lying in the middle. Its blue fur was shining gently in the setting sun. It said, "I'm very happy every day to help everyone do things." Mother Butterfly smiled and said, "The blue down is special, and your helpful heart is even more precious. You will surely grow into the most beautiful butterfly." When the moon rose, Lanlan curled up in the pile of petals, thinking about what she was going to do for her friends the next day, with a smile on her lips. Because of the blue-haired caterpillar Lanlan, this small meadow has become gentler and livelier. Such days are more wonderful than sweet sugar grains and more dazzling than the blue and shiny hairs. The Forest Guardian story of the little mushroom with a canopy under the shade of a tree in the forest. There grows a chubby little mushroom. It is called Duadoo's. Duadoo's canopy is like a light pink umbrella spread out with white dots. The handle is straight and chubby, feeling soft. After the rain, sweet dewdrops will seep out. Mother Squirrel always says, Duodwo is a little harbor in the forest. The canopy is not big, but it can shelter everyone from the wind and rain. That early morning, a light drizzle began to fall from the sky. Little Aunt Guagu led her friends to carry breadcrumbs. The raindrops soaked the breadcrumbs. Duadu quickly shook her umbrella cover and shouted, "Guagu, come under my umbrella quickly." The little ants lined up and crawled under the umbrella cover. The dry surface of the umbrella blocked the rain. Guaguo waved her antennae and said, "Thank you, Duadwo. Your umbrella cover is safer than a leaf nest." In the morning, the rain stopped and the sun gradually rose higher, making the ground feel warm. Little ladybug Dion wanted to find a place to rest, but couldn't find any shade. Duodwo spread out the umbrella cover as if setting up a small pink canopy. Dion, come and enjoy the cool here." Dion landed on the umbrella cover. The cool touch immediately perked it up. Flapping its wings, it said, "Thank you, Duadwu. It's even more comfortable here than under the shade of a big tree." At noon, the little butterfly's colorful wings were soaked by the rain, and it couldn't fly. It lay down anxiously on a stone. Duadwo said softly, "Kaikai, come and dry your wings under my umbrella." It tilted the umbrella cover slightly to block the dazzling sunlight and let the dewdrops slowly drip onto Komei's CAI's wings to help it comb. Komei's light CAI dried her wings and flew gently. "Thank you, Duo. Your umbrella cover is even more considerate than a small post station." In the afternoon, little squirrel Tao wanted to collect smooth pebbles, but the pebbles were scattered in the grass and were not easy to store. Duadwa smiled and said, Tao, let me help you install it." It asked Tao to place the small stones on its umbrella cover. The round umbrella cover was like a small tray firmly holding the stones. Tao, holding a pebble, said, "Thank you, Duadu. Your umbrella cover works better than a small basket." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the forest orange. The friends gathered around Duadwa and held a small sharing session. The little ant brought sweet breadcrumbs. The little ladybug shared delicious nectar, and the little squirrel presented the smoothest pebbles. Duadwa stood in the middle, her umbrella lid shining with a gentle light. She said, "I'm the happiest to be able to shield everyone from the wind and rain and offer a helping hand." The mother squirrel smiled and said, "Duadu's umbrella covers are beautiful, but a kind heart is even more precious. When the moon rises, its moonlight spills over the forest. The umbrellas, each reflecting the moonlight, resemble little pink stars." Because of the little mushrooms, this small forest has become warmer and more reassuring. Such days are more pleasant than sweet nectar and more dazzling than pink umbrellas. A heartwarming memory of the meadow bathed in the glow of purple starflowers on the sunny grassland. There is a particularly eye-catching purple flower blooming. Its name is yinging. The petals of yinging are like they have been dyed with grape juice, giving off a soft purple glow. The edges of the petals are edged with fine white lines. The center of the flower is a small, tender yellow ball. When the wind blows, it gently sways, as if blinking its eyes. The mother bee always says, "Ying-ying is the little sun on the grassland. Her color is unique and her heart is warmer." That early morning, little Aunt Guago was carrying biscuit crumbs on her back and hurrying home. Halfway there, she was blocked by a small puddle. Ying-ying quickly shook the petals and shouted, "Guago, come and rest under my flower stem." It makes the slender flower stems bend down and rest beside the puddles, turning into a small flower stem bridge. Guago slowly crawled along the flower stem and waved her antennae at Ying-ying, saying, "Thank you, Ying-ying. Your flower stems are more stable than small planks." In the morning, the sun rose slowly, making the ground feel warm. Little ladybug Dion couldn't find a shady spot and lay on the ground listlessly. Ying-ying spread her petals open, as if holding up a small purple umbrella. "Dion, come and enjoy the cool here." The drops fell on Ying-ying's petals, and the cool touch immediately made it perk up. Flapping its wings, it said, "Thank you, Ying-ying. It's even more comfortable here than the shade of leaves." At noon, little butterfly Tizai came back from gathering honey. Her mouth was dry, but she couldn't find any dew. Ying-ying remembered the morning dew condensed on her petals and quickly said, "Sai, come and have a drink of water." It gently tilts the petals, allowing the shiny dewdrops to drip in front of Sai. Sai licked the sweet dew and regained her strength. "Thank you, Ying-ying. Your dew is sweeter than nectar." In the afternoon, the little girl Duadwo from the neighbor's house came to play on the grass. As soon as she saw Ying-ying, her eyes lit up. "Wow! This purple flower is so special, like a little star." Duadwa squatted down, gently smelling the faint fragrance. She did unpick it and instead found some small stones to form a small circle beside it. "I want to protect you and keep you blooming here." Ying-ying shook the petals as if saying, "Thank you." In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky and it seemed that it was about to rain. Ying thought of the little cricket Lely living in the nearby pile of withered grass. Its little nest was prone to leakage. Ying quickly unfurled all the petals, trying to spread them as wide as possible, like a small purple umbrella, just enough to cover Lele's little nest. When the raindrops tick-tock fell, Lele hid under the petals and said with a smile, "Thank you, Ying. Your petals are more useful than leaves." The setting sun dyed the grassland an orange-red. The friends gathered around Ying and held a small sharing session. The little aunt brought cookie crumbs, the little ladybug shared nectar, and Duarduo brought clear water. Ying stood in the middle. The purple petals glowed gently in the setting sun. It said, "I'm very happy every day if I can help everyone." Mother Bee smiled and said, "The purple petals are so beautiful, but a kind heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, the moonlight fell upon Ying, and the purple petals seemed to be plated with a layer of silver. Because of the purple star flowers shining, this small meadow has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet dew, and more dazzling than the purple petals shining. The gentle garden of the purple rose Wei Wei. In the center of the flower bed in the garden, there is a charming purple rose blooming. Its name is Wei Wei. The petals of Wei Wei are like crushed purple silk, layer upon layer, giving off a soft glow. The flower stems are covered with fine thorns but are wrapped in emerald green leaves. When the wind blows, they sway gently, giving off a faint fragrance. Mother Butterfly always says Wei Wei is a little lady in the garden, beautiful on the outside but full of kindness in her heart. That early morning, the little bee buzzed but couldn't find nectar and was so anxious that it was circling above the flower beds. Wei Wei gently shook the petals and shouted, "Buzz, come to me quickly." It unfurls its layers of petals, revealing sweet nectar. The buzzing immediately landed on the petals. Happily, she picked up honey and flapped her wings, saying, "Thank you, Wei Wei. Your nectar is sweeter than honey. You are truly my little lucky star." In the morning, the sun rose slowly, making the ground feel warm. The little ladybug Dion wanted to find a place to rest, but was afraid of being pricked by the hard leaves of other plants. Wei Wei spread out the leaves, as if holding up a small green canopy. Dion, come and cool off under my leaves." The dots landed on the soft leaves, and the cool touch made it relax immediately. Swaying the spots, it said, "Thank you, Wei Wei. Your leaves are more comfortable than a small blanket." At noon, little Aunt Guogo was carrying breadcrumbs with her friends. Halfway through, they were blocked by a small soil slope. The dirt slope was a bit steep, and the ants were climbing out of breath. Wei Wei quickly bent the thin flower stems down to form a small flower stem bridge. "Guago, come up with me." The little ants lined up and slowly climbed up the soil slope along the flower stems. Guagu waved its antennae and said, "Thank you, Wei Wei. Your flower stems are more stable than a small ladder." In the afternoon, the little girl Duo from the neighbor's house came to play in the garden. As soon as she saw Wei Wei, her eyes lit up. Wow! This purple rose is so beautiful, just like a flower in a fairy tale. Duadwo squatted down, gently smelling the fragrance of flowers, not touching its thorns, and whispered, "You are so beautiful and gentle. I want to come and see you every day." Wei Wei shook the petals, sending the fragrance further, as if responding to Duadwo's affection. In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Wei Wei thought of the little cricket lily living in the crevice of the nearby stone. Its little nest was easily flooded by rain. Wei Wei quickly unfurled all the petals and leaves, trying to spread them as wide as possible, like a small purple umbrella, just enough to cover the crevices of the stone. When the raindrops tick-tock fell, Lily hid under the flowers and said with a smile, "Thank you, Wei Wei. Your petals are more useful than leaves. I didn't get wet at all." The setting sun dyed the garden an orange red. The friends gathered around Wei Wei and held a small sharing session. Bees brought the sweetest nectar, aunts brought fragrant crumbs, and each one brought clear water and gently watered Wei Wei stood in the middle. The purple petals glowed gently in the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest to be friends with all of you and help you all." Mother Butterfly smiled and said, "Wei Wei's purple petals are delicate, but her kind and gentle heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, the moonlight fell upon Wei Wei, and the purple petals seemed to be plated with a layer of silver. Because of the purple rose Wei Wei, this small garden has become more romantic and warmer. Such days are more pleasant than sweet nectar and more dazzling than layers of purple petals. Read Butterfly Hong Hong's forest-colored diary in the forest of spring. There lives a special butterfly named Hong Hong. Her wings were as red as the morning glow, shining brightly, with a faint golden border around the edges. When she flew, her wings flapped gently, like a red maple leaf that could fly. Even Grandpa's son smiled and said, wherever Hong Hong flew, everything became brighter. One early morning, Hong Hong was sucking nectar on the petals when suddenly she saw the little ant Dodo squatting by the roadside sighing. Dudu wanted to find the first violet of spring, but the forest was so vast that it searched for a long time but couldn't find it. Hong Hong immediately flapped her red wings. "I'll take you there. I saw it yesterday. It was so beautiful." She flew in front of Dodo, her red wings like small flags guiding the way. In no time, she led Dodo to a patch of violets. Dudu looked at the purple little flower and happily turned around. "Hong Hong, your red wings in the flower bed are like a flying flower." At noon, Hong Hong flew to the stream and saw the little squirrel Guagu worrying about the water. Guagu wanted to send a spring leaf to a friend far away, but she didn't know which kind of leaf was the most beautiful. Hong Hong hurriedly flew into the woods and found a maple leaf still covered with dewdrops, even though it was spring. There was a maple leaf that had turned red early. She gently grabbed it with her paws and gave it to Guagu. "This leaf is as red as my wings. My friend will surely like it." Guagu held the maple leaf in her hands and ran to the post office immediately. In the evening, all the friends in the forest gathered on the grassland. Hong Hong told everyone about the scenery she had seen today: golden dandelions, a blue stream and purple violets. Little ladybug Dion. Dion also drew Hong Hong's story on the leaves, making a color diary. Hong Hong flapped her red wings, her heart filled with sweetness. It turned out that discovering beauty with one's own eyes and then sharing it with everyone was even more delightful than drinking the sweetest nectar. When the sun set, Hong Hong's red wings were dyed even brighter by the afterglow. She knew that tomorrow she would still take her friends to look for lotus flowers in summer, ginkgo trees in autumn, and plum blossoms in winter. It turns out that a tiny red butterfly can also become a color guide in the forest, allowing the beauty of each season to settle in everyone's heart. The warm red sun evokes a little promise in the forest every morning. The warm red sun climbs up to the sky on time. Its glow is like a handful of golden red crushed sugar, dyeing the clouds pink and making the grassland soft. As soon as the friends in the forest see it, they know a new day has begun. That morning, as soon as Nuan showed half of her face, she found the little squirrel, Guago, squatting at the tree hole crying. It had rained last night, and the pinnacone he had dried on the branch was all wet and could used for breakfast. Nuan quickly turned the light up more gently, allowing the sunlight to gently wrap around the pine cones, as if they were covered with a warm little quilt. In no time, the water droplets on the pine cones vanished, still carrying a faint fragrance of the sun. Guagu held a pine cone in her hands and shouted to the sky, "Thank you, Nuan. Your sunshine is sweeter than honey." In the morning, Nuan saw the little snail slowly lying on the stone, worried. He wanted to go to the other side to find his good friend, but the dew had wet the small bridge, making it slippery, and he dared not walk. Nuan immediately focused her light on the small bridge, making the stone slabs warm and cozy. Even the grass in the crevices of the stones straightened up. Walking slowly across the warm little bridge, I crossed the river steadily and waved my antennae at the sun. Nuan, your sunlight is as comfortable as a little carpet. At noon, a few dark clouds suddenly drifted in, covering Nuan. Little duck Huang was shivering with cold in the pond, and the wings of little ladybug Dian were also covered with moisture and couldn't fly. Nuan quickly pushed aside the dark clouds with all her might and spread a brighter light over the forest. The water in the pond became warmer, and Dion's wings dried up in the sun. Everyone raised their heads and smiled sweetly at the red sun. In the evening, Nuan was about to go home. He dyed the last ray of light orange-red and gave it to his friends in the forest. Guago hid the light in the tree hole and said she wanted to be a little lantern at night. Huang spread his light over the pond and said he would use it as a blanket for the little fish. Nuan smiled and said, "I'll come again tomorrow and bring everyone new sunshine." When the moon rose, the forest still lingered with a warm scent. The little animals knew that early tomorrow morning the warm red sun would show up on time with its golden red glow. It turned out that the sun not only shone, but was also the warmest friend in the forest, making every day sweet and warm. The sweet and wonderful journey of the red heart lollipop in the candy store at the street corner. There lies a special red heart lollipop. Its candy body is a shiny pink color with a round red heart embedded in the middle. The plastic stick is wrapped with silver candy wrappers. When the sunlight shines on it, it looks like a layer of sweet starlight is scattered. Every day it looks forward to meeting a child who likes it. That morning, little girl Lele walked into the store holding the coin given by her mother and immediately saw this red heart lollipop. I want this. Lele was holding a lollipop, her eyes shining brightly. The boss smiled and helped her peel off the candy wrapper. The sweet aroma of strawberries immediately wafted out. Lele took a small bite and the corners of her mouth immediately curled up. It was even sweeter than the strawberry jam her mother made. Lele, holding a lollipop, hopped and skipped to the park to look for her good friend Dua. Just as I reached the slide, I saw Dua sitting on the bench rubbing her eyes. It turned out that Dua's doll had accidentally fallen into the grass and got stained with mud. Lele hurried over and held the red heart lollipop to Dua's lips, saying, "Have a taste. After eating the sweet one, you won't feel sad anymore." Dua took a bite. The taste of strawberries spread in her mouth and her tears immediately stopped. At this moment, Lele's eyes lit up. He carefully picked off the small mud spots on the doll with the plastic stick of the lollipop and then pulled Duodwo to the lake, gently wiping it clean with clear water. Soon the doll became clean again. Two little girls were sitting on a bench, sharing red heart lollipops bite by bite. The sweet fragrance wafted into the flower bed beside them. Even butterflies perched beside them, as if they also wanted to taste the sweetness. Lele licked the candy residue at the corner of her mouth and said with a smile, "So sharing sweet candy with friends is even sweeter than eating it alone." When the sun was about to set, only a small piece of the red heart lollipop remained. But it was unsad at all. It saw the smiling faces of Lele and Duadro and heard their sweet laughter, knowing that it had sent sweetness to where it was most needed. It turns out that a small lollipop not only brings sweetness, but also helps children get rid of sadness and make happiness more and more. The sunny song of the golden rooster's farm. In the chicken coop of Sunshine Farm lives a yellow rooster named Gingin. Its feathers are like sun-dried ears of wheat, golden and shining. The comb on its head is as red as a small flame. Its tail is held high and dotted with a few colorful feathers. Every day before dawn, Gingin would stand on the farm fence, puffing out its chest and singing "Oh, oh, oh," waking up the sleeping farm and calling out the sun from behind the mountain. That early morning, as soon as Gingin finished singing the wake-up song, she saw the little duck Wang Wang circling around the pond. "What's up, Gingin?" jumped down and asked. Wang Wang pouted and said, "I wanted to find the soft fluff my mom used to knit sweaters, but the wind blew the fluff everywhere and I couldn't pick it up. Jinjin immediately flapped her wings and used her pointed mouth to help Huang Huang carry over the down floating on the grass leaves and petals. She also gave Huang Huang the 2 soft feathers that had fallen from her body. This way, Mum can knit a warmer sweater. Huang Huang held the fluffy fur and giggled at Jinjin. In the morning, Jinjin was taking a walk in the yard when suddenly she heard a weak Gigi sound coming from the chicken coop. It was Duadua, a newly hatched chick that had accidentally fallen out of the coop. Her leg hurt a little and she couldn't stand up. Jinjin quickly squatted down, protected Duadwo with her warm wings, and carefully combed Duadwo's messy down with her mouth. Then she gently sent Duaduo back to her mother hen. The mother hen pecked at Jinjin's paw gratefully and said, "With you around, we all feel particularly at ease." At noon, the farm owner was going to dry the corn, but the basket holding the corn broke and the corn kernels scattered all over the ground. Jinjin immediately called the ducklings and chicks to help. It used its beak to carry back the corn kernels that had rolled into the grass one by one. Its friends followed suit and picked them up. Soon, they all put the corn kernels into the new basket. The farm owner smiled and patted Jinjin's head, saying, "Jinjin is truly a little hero of the farm." In the evening, Jinjin stood on the fence looking at her farm friends. The ducklings were swimming happily in the pond, the chicks were looking for insects on the grass, and the corn was shining golden in the sun. It couldn't help singing again, and this time its voice was filled with sweet joy. Jinjin suddenly realized that waking up the farm every day was her responsibility, and helping her friends solve problems was her happiness. It turned out that being a yellow rooster could bring so much sunshine and warmth to the farm, which was truly delightful. Little Yellow Chicken Rongrong's farm. Adventure in the chicken coop of the farm lived a little yellow chicken named Rongrong. It is covered all over with golden down, like a running little sun. Its pointed little beak always pecks at the small insects on the ground. When it runs, its short legs roll around very fast. Even its mother smiles and says, "Our Rongrong is the most energetic little one." That morning, as soon as the sun warmed the haystack, Rongrong hopped out of the chicken coop. It had just found a chubby little bug in the yard when it suddenly heard a weak Gigi sound. It was the little duck of the duck mother next door, which had accidentally fallen into a wooden basin filled with water. Its short legs were flapping around, and it couldn't climb up no matter how hard it tried. Rongrong quickly put down the little bug and walked around the wooden basin twice. Suddenly, she saw a long straw beside it. It bit one end of the straw with its mouth and gently placed the other end in front of the little duck. "Grab it, quickly. I'll pull you up." The little duck quickly bit the straw. Rongrong pulled hard and finally managed to pull the little duck back to the shore. When the mother duck arrived, the ducklings were hiding beside Rongrong to keep warm. Mother duck gave Rongrong a sweet corn kernel and said, "Thank you, Rongrong. You are such a brave little helper." Rongrong was holding a corn kernel in her mouth and was just about to share it with her friends when she saw the little chicken, Duaduo, worrying. Duaduo could unfind her mother and was so anxious that she was almost crying. Rong Rong immediately took Duardwo and followed the path that the mother chicken often took to search. Finally, they found the mother chicken looking for bugs in the vegetable garden. The mother chicken stroked Rong Rong's head and said with a smile, "Rong Rong has grown up and can help others now." In the evening, Rong Rong lay on the haystack, chewing sweet corn kernels in her mouth, surrounded by little ducks and Duardwo. It gazed at the sunset glow on the horizon, feeling warm in its heart. It turned out that helping its companions solve problems was even more delightful than finding the fattest bugs. Every day on the farm was filled with sweet little surprises. The slow and pleasant time of the little blue-shelled turtle in the grass by the pond lived a very special little turtle called Mung Mung. His shell is not the common dark green, but a light blue that looks like the blue sky crushed and smeared on. There are also circles of light grey patterns on the shell, like ripples in a pond. When he gets up, the shell will gently sway, as if he is walking with a small piece of blue sky on his back. That morning, I slowly carried my blue shell to the pond to look for duckweed to eat. Just as I climbed over a big rock, I heard a gee-gee sound. It was the chirping of a little sparrow. Its feet were entangled by grass and vines, and it landed on the ground and couldn't fly up. Slowly, he quickly stopped and slowly walked around to Choo Choo's side. He gently rubbed his shell against the grass and vines, then extended his little paws and carefully untied the vines wrapped around Choo Choo's feet, bit by bit. "Thank you so much. Take your time." Shoo Shoo flapped its wings and flew up, slowly carrying a piece of the tenderest duckweed. "This is for you to eat. It's so sweet." Slowly smiling, she took the duck just as she took a bite. She saw the little crab Zhuang running over with her small pincers in hand. "Slowly, my shell toy has fallen into the pond. Can you help me get it out? I'm afraid the water is too deep." Nodding slowly, he slowly climbed into the pond. His blue shell was like a tiny blue moon in the water. Soon he found the shell toy at the bottom of the water, gently held it in his mouth, and slowly swam back to the shore. Zhuang held the shell and happily turned it around. Slowly, "Your blue shell looks so beautiful in the water, as if it could glow." When the sun was almost overhead, I slowly sat by the pond, eating duckweed while watching Choo Choo fly in the sky and Zhuang play with shells nearby, although he crawled slowly. His heart was warm. It turned out that walking slowly and helping his companions slowly could also bring so many happy things. Just like his blue shell, in the slow passage of time, there were so many little beauties hidden. The plump forest treasure of the old wine jar deep in the forest, beside a small wooden house, there was an old wine jar which everyone called Pang Pang. Its belly is round and plump, with light blue and white patterns on its body. The mouth of the altar is ground smooth and feels warm to the touch. Since the owner of the wooden house left, Pang Pang has quietly stayed under the tree and become a little ornament in the forest. That early morning, the little squirrel Guago came running over with a full handful of pine cones in her arms. Stamping her feet in anxiety, it had just rained, and pine cones would get mouldy if they got damp, but its tree hole had not yet dried up. Guogu saw Pang Pang, and her eyes lit up. She carefully put the pine cones into the jar and said, "Pang Pang, could you help me store the pine cones for a while?" Chubby stood steadily as if saying, "Don't worry, the pine cone lay in its belly, dry and safe." At noon, the little ants passed by carrying breadcrumbs larger than themselves. Suddenly, a gentle breeze blew, and the breadcrumbs seemed about to be blown away. The leading ant captain quickly directed everyone to carry the breadcrumbs into the plump jar. The chubby belly was just enough to block the wind, and the breadcrumbs lay steadily beside the pine cones, as if they had found Shaoxun's home. In the evening, it began to drizzle. Little ladybugs flapped their wet wings and flew over. Seeing the plump mouth of the jar, they quickly flew in to take shelter from the rain. It lay on the pine cone, watching the raindrops outside the jar. Suddenly, it noticed a small petal stuck to the plump blue and white porcelain. It gently wiped it off with its little paws and said, "I'll make it clean for you." When the rain stopped, Guogo and the ants came to get the treasure. Seeing Dion in the jar, they all greeted each other with smiles. Guogo placed the most fragrant pinnacone at the mouth of the jar. The ants brought in some shiny pebbles, and Dian stuck a petal with dewdrops beside the blue and white flowers. The moonlight fell upon Pang Pang, the aroma of pinnacone and the sweetness of breadcrumbs still lingered in its belly, and the small gift at the mouth of the jar was shining. Pang Pang stood quietly and suddenly felt that there was no need to hold wine. Helping the forest friends protect their treasures was even more delightful than filling them with fine wine. He had also become an indispensable treasure manager in the forest. A strong underwater repair shop for lobsters beside the coral city under the Azure Sea. There lived a lobster named Zhuangzhuang. He was dressed in a bright red hard armor with 2 long beards swaying on his head. The most eye-catching feature was a pair of large bluish-grey pliers, with their jaws shining brightly, looking particularly powerful. At first, the friends at the bottom of the sea were a little afraid of his big pliers, but they found out that Zhuangzhuang's pliers were not used to scare people, but rather repair tools that could help them solve problems. One early morning, Zhuangzhuang was basking in the sun on the rock, when suddenly he heard the anxious shout of the little hermit crab Dodo, "There's a crack in my shell house. The seawater is about to seep in." Zhuangguang hurriedly climbed over, carefully picked up the small conch shell fragments beside him with big pliers, and then found the sticky seaweed from the seabed. Like a little craftsman, he gradually stuck the fragments onto the crack. His pliers were controlled so steadily that even the tiniest fragments could be precisely clamped. In no time, he had fixed the shell house. Dudu got into the shell and tried it out, happily saying, "It doesn't leak at all." The strong pliers are even more useful than the repairman's small hammer. In the morning, Zhuangshuang passed by the water plant house of Haima Youwu and saw Youwu sighing at the broken water plant swing. The big waves yesterday had broken the rope of the swing, and she could no longer swing on it to enjoy the scenery. Zhuangshuang's eyes lit up. He used big pliers to pick up several strong kelp ropes and found a smooth pebble as the swing board. In no time, he tied the swing back together. He deliberately tightened the kelp rope with pliers and said with a smile, "Relax and swing. It's even stronger than before." Youwu sat on the swing, swinging high, and her laughter, like a string of small bubbles, drifted far away. In the evening, the little fish at the bottom of the sea came for help. The lid of the conch jar they used to store fish food was stuck and could not be opened no matter how hard they tried. Duanguanguang rushed over, gently clamped the edge of the conch jar with big pliers, and with a little force, the lid opened with a click. The little fish surrounded Zhuangguang and gave him the most delicious shrimps. The setting sun filtered through the sea, dyeing the strong red armor orange red. He sat on the square of Coral City, watching his friends play happily and chewing sweet seaweed in his mouth. Zhuangshuang suddenly felt that his big pliers were not a terrifying weapon, but a treasure that could bring joy to everyone. It turns out that as long as you help others with your heart, even the most powerful person can become the warmest one. The days at the bottom of the sea have become increasingly lively and sweet because of the big pliers that can fix everything.